welcome everybody to another episode of the Threadlings of Filmmaking Production Diary. We're talking about the making of an animated short film in Unreal Engine. Yeah. So this week we were doing a bunch of stuff with Mocap. Thanks everybody for coming in today. So let's see who we have. We have Ty. We have Sohi. CGC. JCG.
It's like a tongue twister, yeah?
Yeah, that's a tongue twister, right? We have Maggie. Peter. So this week we did a bunch of motion capture, and we did it at the Gnomon stage. It actually went disastrous. Not for
Yeah, I was like,
it was
wait.
actually it went as bad as could possibly go. So we bought a second Extend suit, and we just could not get it to work. Like, we could not get two suits to work simultaneously at all, and we
We had planned, and that's the thing too. When you do these type of shoots or recording sessions, you plan for all this stuff. So you bring in two actors,
which you're paying them every day.
and you're scheduling them, and they're doing So you have this plan, you have this shot list, you have this idea, and then when nothing goes to plan, it's usually like very stressful, right?
Oh, it was so stressful. It was so stressful that the day after that, I think we slept the entire day. We were just so stressed out because we were on with tech support with XSense for 3 hours almost, and we just couldn't get it to work. So
Well, we finally got something, but then there were a bunch of other problems,
yeah, so
and it was just really bad.
yeah.
So I don't know like how to describe it.
So what we ended up having to do is just do what we did on The Voice in the Hollow, which is have one actor play the part alongside the other actor, but that actor is not being recorded. So now it means it takes twice the amount of time because you have to do everything twice. So anyway, this is Caitlin, who's someone we've known since she was like 11 or 12 or something crazy.
Really young.
Yeah, so we've known her for half her life, and she was the sole actress, mocap actress on The Voice in the Hollow. We used her on the Green Ruby Pumpkin, which was the first thing we ever did. And she's amazing. We love her. And so she did Caught. And then we had another actor come in and play the other roles, which was like Shrog and Zort. But again, we had to do that the second day because the first day was almost entirely a wash. It was just trying to figure this out.
Yeah, the first day was just bad.
1 second.
It was, I don't know how to say other than just watching things just crumble and not work. It's like watching like money being washed down the drain. That's how it is. Because whether you get it in or not, or you get what you want,
You still have to pay everybody.
you still have to pay everyone. And that's the thing. This is still considered like a small shoot, right? Because it's just two actors, and we at least didn't have to rent a location, but you still have to feed them, and those kind of costs really add up. And then not to get it, means you have to do it again, and that means the cost is the same again. Right?
Yeah.
So whatever it costs per day, now we have to do it again. And it's also, I think the other stressful thing is like we had bought a second suit so we can use it. And these things are,
Suits are very expensive.
yeah, they're super, super expensive, and it just doesn't work. So
the minute you go, okay, I guess we're not going to use it, you start thinking, oh my God, we spent so much freaking money to get that second suit, to then not
to
use
like just
it.
throw it on the side is like,
It makes you think like, wait a minute, we didn't actually need that second suit at all then, which was, yeah.
yeah. And now you just feel like you wasted so much. As far as why it doesn't work, like, I don't know what the answer was. Why didn't it work? How did you get it working?
Yeah, but the one suit works perfect, right? We get the one suit to work really easily. It works great, and you could see this is some of the stuff here. Let me show you some of the other stuff, and now I'll actually open up. And this is part of production, so we're not like, man, this is
It's over.
yeah, like this is
This is how it is. This is how it is, and at least it wasn't like on a location or whatever, because then you would have much greater expenses, like way more expenses.
yeah. We were actually talking about like when we were there, like some of the bad days that happened to us during the Ningyo, and those were way worse than anything that could have happened.
Yeah. So Ningyo was like we rented locations. Um, you had costumes. Everything was much more expensive.
Yeah. Let me see. I wanted to open this up here. Let's see. Da-da-da-dum. Cop bedroom. Cop bedroom. So this you could kind of see. I'm trying to open up the sorry, the sound and the mocap that goes with it, and I'm getting messages from Luma, who's gonna send us some animation stuff soon, which is awesome. So okay, so you could see we did like 140 takes. This is day one, but we did 140 total. But you can see here that we can just play the animation. So the way this stuff is captured is it actually it does a good job, but then it has to go through a process called what is it actually called? It's called reprocessing, and the reprocessing goes in, looks at the movement. So let me explain how these XN suits work in general. So most motion capture suits use optical tracking, which means it uses some kind of a camera system to see the position of the model. The XN suit doesn't have eyes at all. It's using a series of gyroscopes, not unlike your iPhone, right? How your iPhone knows it's rotating or whatever. That's exactly how this works. The That's not perfectly accurate. So the real genius of it is the software that goes in and looks at all those movements and then basically figures out, oh, this would have been impossible. Hence, let me clean it up and give you what would probably have been the correct thing. And that's the reprocessing that it does. It goes in and it really cleans everything up. So the raw movement might have the foot sliding around. Well, then when it goes to reprocess it, it goes probably that foot sliding around as if there was no gravity is not what was actually happening. So let me remove that. That hand going through the hips probably impossible. Let me remove that, and that's what that does. So you have to run everything through that. So when you're looking at this here, this is not the raw mocap. This has already been pre-processed, and the pre-processing is really simple. You just come over here and you just go to reprocess or batch process, and you could see here you could select the folder you want to run and then where you want to put all the cleaned up footage. You wouldn't want to override the original one because it is actually altering the mocap, right? It is, I don't want to say retopologize it for you modeling nerds out there like us, but it is it is changing the vertex order of things. Again, there's no vertex order, just talking in modeling terms. So so it puts it into another folder, HD quality, and then there's this thing called scenarios, which is single level, multi level, no level, and soft floor. So what does this mean? So how I was saying, it looks at the movement and it goes, oh, that's probably a mistake. Well, if you don't set multi-level, for example, and the character jumps on an apple box, for example, it'll think, oh, I screwed up, and now the guy's floating, so let me bring him back down to the ground. However, if you know you have a second level, then you put multi-level, and then it figures out, oh, I see. So that's not a mistake. He is on multiple levels. And then soft floor, this is new, but basically saying, hey, the feet can kind of shift around a little bit. That's normal. That wasn't there during Voice in the Hollow. So that's a new thing, which is pretty cool. So anyway, you run all this. How many clips do you want it to process at the same time? You have a really fast computer. You could do, as 16. And then it just goes through all of them, right? Now, this is not going to give you anything that you could use in Maya yet. But if you wanted to, you could grab this, and then you have to go to, where is it again? 'Cause I actually haven't done, we're just opening this up. So I could go to export, export selection, and we have this here. Let me close this thing. This thing could get so annoying sometimes. Oh my God. Okay. So, okay. So what format do you want to export this out as? So FBX is what we like. You could keep the same name, which we want to keep the same name so that there's continuity across everything. Then there's show options. So there's a few things here that we always turn on. So overwrite first frame with a T-pose. You want that because that T-pose is the same pose that your rig is in. So you want that. You're not going to use that frame, but you want it so that things don't get all weird. Start at 0. Everything else is fine. And then we just could export this. Actually, I don't even know where I exported it out to, so let me see that. Okay, so I exported out to the same folder. Okay. So in Maya, we could then come over here. And let's see the mocap. And the export to FBX is really fast. The cleanup process is not. So we left it running pretty much overnight. Let's give it a second. Okay, let me see in the meantime some of the comments here. So, comment, I'll be attending Gnomon in the fall. I'm super excited. That's awesome.
Congratulations.
Yeah, that's cool. Just curious, I saw Rococo's 2-camera video capture. So I don't know, I haven't seen the video capture thing. I do know that the Rococo suit does not have the best reviews from people that have used it that I know. Going back to some of the stuff I was talking about just a little while ago, it seems like there's a lot of floaty feet. So I don't know enough. That's just what I've heard from other people. So I don't want to. I definitely would want to test it first. Yeah, Bobby. Netbug is in the house. Yeah, the thing about the XN suit, I think the XN suit would be hands down the winner for sure of the mocap race, especially for like indie level, if it wasn't for their licensing. So the suits are an amazing price, but then the freaking license, after the first year, you have to pay $10,000 a year to license the software. Now the suit costs $3,000, so it feels a little bit like in the 80s when they would tell you about the drug dealers that would give you free drugs. Do you know what I mean? Like, hey, here, the first one is for free. Do you know what I mean? Like you would see that in like 80s movies.
Yeah.
And then after that, you're hooked, and now you have to go back to the drug dealer. That's kind of how it feels like. It's like, okay, the suit is $3,000. What a bargain. But after that, you owe me $10,000. So it's a little bit, it's once they have you, you're screwed. So I wish their license was a little bit that it was based more on, okay, if you're digital domain and you want to charge them that, that's totally fine. But on an indie level, charging indie guys $10,000 a year is crazy. And then the other thing is, so they have this other thing which you could batch process this stuff by paying $300 a month, and I'm like, okay, that's not a bad deal. You pay $300 a month, and you could batch process all the stuff. Here's the part that sucks, though. It should be a license that you then just press the reprocess button, just like we're doing here, and it processes the stuff on your computer. That would be fine. I'd pay $300 a month because you figure, okay, I'm gonna not use the mocap for 3 months out of the year, 4 months out of the year, and then when you need it, you pay the $300. Not a big deal. But the problem is you have to upload all the files to the cloud. So all of a sudden you have to upload gigs and gigs worth of files so that it processes on their side and then they send it back to you. So now you have to download gigs and gigs of files. And I'm just like, that's so silly. Like the software already does that. Just make it so that the license says, okay, he's paying $300. Let him process it locally. Done. Like the software already does it. So that's the only part that is kind of annoying. Okay. So let's open up Maya and let's see what we have here. So I'm going to go to import, and here is our animation. So you can see all the movements are there. It looks great. It looks like I'm gonna put 1,000 frames in here just to see. Okay, so it just went up to frame 204. So it was smart enough to detect that. So that's fine. Let's stay 204. Okay, so over here we have the skeleton, and now we just have to basically select it, and I could just come over here. Let me just grab this. What is going on? Let me see. Okay, there we go. Let me just connect this guy here. And I'm going to save this here. Okay, so I just brought this in and then reset the definition. You could set like a template, and I set it to Mixamo. I think I could put base human also, but I set it to Mixamo, and then I just had to link this bottom one. I could then save this. So I could call this Threadling. Right, so the next time if I were to open this up, let me just test this again. One second. Oh, it's trying to find an FBX file. One second. Okay, so I could go to create character definition. I have to select one of the bones. Threadling. It's all linked up. And now what I usually do is I just save this, save scene as. And the best thing to do, actually, is not to import, but if I open that FBX file just directly, so I'm going to do this one more time. Like we're doing this live, like this is literally like we just got the mocap, now we're applying it. And I haven't done this since the Voice of the Hollow days, so I'm remembering everything as I go. Okay, so there you go. And now if I go to File, Save Scene As, it should maintain the file name automatically. If I import it, it won't. And I'm just gonna save that in that same exact folder as a Maya file. Okay, so now if I go over here, I haven't tried this yet on these guys. This will be the first time we're ever putting mocap on these guys. Like mocap that belongs to them mocap. So let me just find the characters. Let me find caught.
There he is.
One second. Okay, so we have this here. So now all I have to do is file, create reference. I'll find the folder, which is in my other monitor. And then here I could just select the mocap. And just for the hell of it, let me just put some kind of mocap on him. So this is a very short run. Okay, so this is a very short run. This might not be the ideal one to show. One thing to keep in mind is the clothing is not simmed here. So you can see that feels a little bit weird.
Yeah. Just ignore the clothes because they get simulated after. They're not rigged to simulate. But now that you won't really feel him. Or you just want to see like how it's working.
Well, I just want to make sure because the shirt like that just feels so weird that
It's hard to even to know if it's just broken.
yeah. So let me do something really quickly. Give me. Oh, I don't know if I have. Do you have? Let me just do something real quick. Give me 1 second, guys. So what I'm gonna do. Is record myself real quick.
So Miguel's pulling out his phone so that he can probably use Mocap X. Is that what it's for?
Yeah, I am about to send myself a clip of me acting like I'm screaming, which I'm doing again, like totally live. Okay, because that face doesn't necessarily look like he's screaming, so I just did this literally on the fly. So let me just open this up. So I just emailed it to myself. Throw that in the desktop. One second. So now he's screaming. Okay, so let's try another. Let's try another clip here.
Yeah, that clip, I'm kind of like,
Hey, but you know what? That's how it is.
yeah.
So let's bring in another one here. The movement looks good. It's just not the coolest.
No, it's a funny run. If I guess is how I would put it.
So these are all. I think day one was primarily runs. So let's go over to something like this. Okay, so this is more talking. So this is good.
Yeah.
So same thing. File, export, export selection. Does that all look good? It looks good. Export it. Great. Come over here. File open. Let me find day two.
Are you looking for a specific performance?
No?
No. Okay. Because I have a notes.
What are the notes? Oh, no, 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 no. I see. I thought you were saying that you have a suggestion. No.
No, I have notes on what we did during what number takes.
No, not at all. 39 to 36. Okay, let's try this one here. So same thing. You can see how quickly you could start to set these up. Create character definition. It's super annoying that it unselects it. There you go. It's all rigged. File, save scene as. And I'm going to put this under day two. Okay, great. So let's open up our rig again. File, create reference. Let's see, day two. Make sure you're monitoring questions, Tran.
Yeah. I mean, you have a question. Which software is this?
This is MVN Animate.
It's Mocap software, if you're just dropping in.
So there you could see we have and let me just put the mocap face on this. Again, this facial stuff does not line up with the performance. I'm just putting like a completely random one here. So let's go to joints and curves. Let me hide locators as well. So let me come over here.
The one thing that we did get this time, for like those of us who know us on Voice in the Hollows, the hand performances were much better, right?
Yeah.
And I can already see it there.
So we think in general the Xsense has gotten better. Like we kept noticing a lot of things that just felt much cleaner. The hands in particular. Um,
The hands and the contact points.
yeah.
So like in the Voice in the Hollow, we used to, like the hand would go through like the body all the time. So like the actor could put their hand on their hips or something, and then it would just like go through the spine. And when you were looking at the mocap sensor stuff, but this time it tries to maintain the distance more.
So you can see we have to do a bunch of, well, not a bunch, just when it's simmed, it's going to look very different. Like here, that looks pretty crap. It looks like everything broke. But when you look at that, you're like, no, that looks correct. It's just simming weird. So, there's definitely things that need to be
Yeah.
adjusted.
Pinched elbows.
But and the other thing is you can see his hands are going through stuff, of course, because the proportions are so different. But that would have to be cleaned up in the animation. And it's really not that hard to do that pass. That looks really cute at the end.
I'm just trying to. It's my first time seeing this, so I'm quiet because I'm just processing.
The work ahead.
Well, not that. I'm really just looking at the performance. But it's really hard to judge performance without the face. But you can kind of read it a little bit from here.
I mean, you could definitely read this one. This one kind of matches what the moment is supposed to be. So just so you guys know what this is supposed to be this right here. Let's find this. It's basically this right here.
Master Shark, it got him. The moth.
A moth? All right, slow down, boy. Slow down. Now tell me.
It swooped down, grabbed Zort.
Zort?
Ejected him. He's gone.
Oh, that's impossible.
It's true. We tried to save him, but.
So the face is not going to line up at all. So then the sound comes in.
Zort?
Turns around, sort.
Blasphemy. Consider your next words carefully.
Mayo saw.
Let's do that one more time.
Master Shark.
You can see he's going to
it
run.
got him. The moth.
A moth? All right, slow down, boy. Slow down. Now tell me.
It swooped down, grabbed Zort.
Zort?
Ejected him. He's gone.
Oh, that's impossible.
It's true. We tried to save him, but. Mayo. Zort?
Blasphemy.
So that's it. That's our mocap. Let's try one of the smaller ones. So let's go to let's see what we have here.
So something like that, like it would go through animation cleanup, so his hands are like no longer punching through the head. And then from there, if necessary, we would do shot modeling if we had to.
Let's export this one. This one's
And
cleaner.
then we would do claw simulation on top.
So that should be very quick. Let's open up. 1 second. Da, da, da. Mocap D2. Again, we're looking at this for the first time, like you guys.
Yeah.
65. Oh. So, same thing, super annoying. You have to reselect this. Threadling file, save scene as. Day 2. Let's try that one. So this is caught looking at a book. You can see all the issues that we're gonna face here. You see that? Like look at holding the book. The proportions are so different.
Yeah. Yeah.
The proportions are so different, so the hands have to like extend much further out.
Well, yeah.
Let me see something here, because that should be like hundreds of frames.
I get worried that his runs are goofy.
He is goofy.
I know. But if you think it works, that it's going to work.
So again, all the cloth will be simulated later. Let's see. My concern is more about the proportions.
You mean how big his head is?
Yeah, like how the hell does this fucker read a book? So let me just take a look here.
So, yeah, if you're confused, just to clarify, Cod is holding a book in two hands and he's flipping through the pages. I don't know.
Let's say the book is something like this. I mean, he's going to move here, but it'll work. We just have to extend the arm out a little bit. It's not a big deal.
Yeah.
Okay, so once I have this, I could then bake to custom rig, and it'll bake out all the animation. So it goes from being mocap to just being you know, baked onto the actual joints.
And then from there, you can actually edit it, right?
Yeah, so now that I have this, you can see I have keyframes on everything. So now if I wanted to, let's go over here. Set this back to 0. I could, for example, if I needed to extend this out, I could come over here, create, oh, what am I doing? Create an animation layer. Let me pull this out. Basically extend this if I wanted to. And even this, I could just add this guy. So I'm using like an animation layer. So now if I just did this, it's obviously too close. But you can see you're keying over the hundreds of frames that are already there. And that's just on a layer, so you can just turn that on and off. So it's not perfect, but this is how we would go in and clean all this stuff up. So you would look at the fingers if there was anything that you didn't like. So you can see we have a weird deformation issue here. This is like an area we always have had issues with.
The thumb.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you can see we could come over here, fix this up now. And the ideal way to do this is, we were talking about this a few weeks ago, is using, using, what's it called again? Studio tools to,
Oh, you mean the animation tool?
yeah, so
the library?
you say Studio Library, that's it. So that you just save this thumb pose, so you don't have to readjust this every single frame.
Yeah, like you're probably gonna get the same, a very, very similar problem.
Yeah. So you can see that kind of fixes it. And that's just writing over everything. So you can see if I turn this off, you can see you get that thumb busting. But you just do this, you're like, okay, I'm gonna fix that there. Over here, you could say, okay, I want this to be down like this. So now it's gonna key between. So you can see that looks all busted there. Not a big deal. Just fix that. So we could just go in and start cleaning all this stuff up. Let's take a look over here.
And how close are the elbows hitting to the body? I think that one might be a thing too. But we just have to try to simulate and see what it does.
Yeah. Let's see if there's any questions.
I think just one new one. How are you planning to do a facial animation?
Facial animation, we're gonna do it the way we did Voice in the Hollow, which is I do all the performances and then I just transfer it on with Mocap X.
Yeah, there's a lot more control that way.
Yeah. So you can see stuff like this here. I could fix that. Fix that. So let me just record something real quick here just to show you guys. So I'm going to do a range of motions. I'm doing my terrible acting.
Yeah, so Miguel's got his phone out, recording his performance.
Okay, so let me just put that in there. So just instantly downloading it, 386. And let me offset that by 800 frames. So there you go. You can see I just recorded that right now, and I'm just applying that onto his face. And that's just with an iPhone app.
Can you put his clothes on? Because his face looks really scary. His head looks very scary without. Yeah, the next step would be to pick a scene that we want to start with first, right?
Yeah.
And then just start blocking it out, see how everything looks and feels with the materials and stuff like that. What do you think when you see this?
Well, you sound real positive.
No. I'm just concerned. I'm always concerned.
Well, I think it's the first time we see stuff. It's never going to look the best. What I think we have to figure out is the pipeline to be able to see caught as we're doing the mocap and not see this guy. Do you know what I mean? Because you would have instantly seen like, oh shit, the hands look, the arms have to be extended out more. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like when I look at this part here and I go, okay, if that clothing was actually simmed correctly, I think he looks really cute right there.
Yeah. I can, the clothing doesn't really bother me. I mean, I do think certain things, like that neck part is like really pinned down in the rig to his body. Just how does that look? Um, where the green cloth thingy is stretching. Like, is that, there's gonna be a hole there that I didn't anticipate? Do I have to adjust that?
Oh, you mean because is there going to be like a weird stretch there? Is what you're saying?
Yeah, like where the neck is there gonna be a gap? I'm not sure. So it's not a big deal if there is, if I have to put like another piece or whatever, but because his head's really big, right? So like when I was making his clothes, it was really tricky because you had this giant ball go down to this like very small body, and there's like gaps underneath, like literally. It's like looking up a skirt. You don't really want to see the underside. So that's one thing. But I'm not too concerned. I just wonder how his face looks with the materials. Like, is he cute?
So let's render him out and see. Let's go to.
Yeah, there's a question: is it possible to live link to Maya?
Not to
for it.
not to Maya. You could do it to Unreal. That I know for sure. I mean, maybe there's a way to do it with Maya, but for Unreal, 100% you can. Um, you know, the problem is it's just two of us, and we're already just so freaking overwhelmed with this stuff. So let me hide this. Figuring that stuff out sometimes. I mean, we clearly have to figure it out, but let me turn on.
You know, it's funny. His eyes look sleepy.
That's because my eyes are sleepy.
Yeah, on Voice in the Hollow, when you did the facial performance, all your characters had sleepy eyes.
Yeah, because I always look like I'm freaking half asleep. Let me see.
The Kot's eyes are all sleepy too. I don't know. He just, you know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? Like his eyes are a little bit droopier. You just had to open. What did you do? Open your eyes larger?
On Voice in the Hollow?
Yeah, because they all had sleepy eyes. You know, at the end we did it, so I don't remember what you did.
I don't remember. Probably open my eyes more. Let me make sure the playback speed, playback maximum real time. So, anyway, so that's one of them. Let me see if there's any questions or anything here. Yeah, so that's how we would do that. You know, there's parts of it that I think, okay, this is going to look great, and then there's parts of it that are obviously scary. But I do think seeing, you know, the animation not line up like this, that's probably the toughest thing. You know, the other thing is we have to think about, like, do we have to rework this? Does the book have to be on like a book reader instead of him carrying it around like a pedestal kind of thing?
I don't know.
Like if you have a giant head like that, would you even be able to read a book?
You mean like his eye contact is not meeting, like with the book? You mean?
Yeah, but I'm just wondering whether they could read a book at all because their head would be so big that if they look down,
Ka has the biggest head.
I think it could be fixed. I think
I think it's, to me, that that doesn't bother me. Like in terms of like what I'm thinking when I'm looking at this is I'm analyzing the body movement, like the performance. Do we like that personality in him, the way he runs in, how he flails his limbs, right? Like that's like on a performance level. And I almost think like, I'm seeing the difference between seeing this in, because when we're on the stage, just so everyone knows, like we don't have these files here. We don't have our setup on the stage. We just have Mocap, not Mocap X, Exsense software.
This.
And this is all we see, right? So you're just trying to like look at that mannequin and you're there, you're going, okay, the actor's doing a great job. Their performance is good. And then you're thinking like, I don't know, it's just really hard to carry all that stuff, right? And then look at that mannequin and go, that's supposed to be caught. So there's like just a difference in finally seeing it for the first time. That's why Miguel and I are like kind of quiet and just analyzing it. And then, while you're there, there's so many things you're thinking of, like, did the sensor fall off the foot? Is the mocap calibrated? Does it need to be recalibrated? Are we losing like connection? You're just thinking like these technical things along with like trying to get the performance. And now we're just seeing it together for the first time. I almost think like in my head, I'm thinking to myself, like, we might just bring Caitlin back, bring her to our place and have her do like these smaller, tighter performances by herself and apply it like here, and then we'll see everything. Do you know what I mean?
I think this works. I think it needs to clean up, and I think that we need to do one of these. We need to run one of these all the way through.
Yeah, that's what I mean. We have to start with a shot.
Yeah.
I don't know which scene we should start with. Like, we've talked about it, but
Like, look at that. That's cute as hell. It's just the fact that the clothing looks all busted, but he looks really cute to me there.
yeah. Well, it's like his clothing is busted. He's orange. He's got green. He's got purple. He's got these terrible colors on him.
Like that right there with, let's go to the voice here. So let's do.
It's a comment.
Listen to this, Mayo. In rare instances, larvae dwelling within threadlings may possess the spirit's vessel, consuming their essence but a hollow shell. Do you realize what that means?
Mayo knows.
It means Zor, the chosen one, may already be dead. That means the prophecy was wrong, and we're all in danger.
Mayo too?
Especially you. You tried to kill him.
Mayo
Yeah,
too.
I think with these this voice and this is it's all gonna work.
Yeah.
We just have to figure out getting that that arm to work with his eye line.
I mean, how far can you extend the hand? The whole arm.
You could extend it. I'm just looking at the rig, and there's a big issue here where when I set it to FK, it just completely places
The arm, like it breaks the whole thing.
it breaks the whole arm where it really should just stick to the same place that it was at. Do you know what I mean? Or else,
Or else we can't modify it, right?
well, you can modify it, but you want it to be already in the same place, and then you're just kind of pulling it forward and back or whatever. But if it just snaps to this completely different place, then you're kind of losing
No,
the performance.
you're totally losing the performance. So this has to go back to rigging to be fixed.
Something like that.
Yeah, it's a big sigh from us.
So yeah. Someone just wrote, it's perfect. Yeah. Let me see. Let me do depth map shadows. Let me filter them.
I would turn off the ambient occlusion you have on there. It makes his face look dirty.
Like that?
Yeah. Have you thought about what scene you want to start in?
No. Probably when they see Zort dying.
The berry scene.
At the berry scene, the hallway.
Okay.
Or this scene. The book one.
Part of me wants to start with this scene, but also the fact that, how do we edit in from here? It almost could start with, I'm not sure. But I feel like you could almost start with them running up to Shrog. And then you have 3 characters, but it's up to you on how you feel.
Oh, because that one we have all of them.
Well, we have all of them, and the other reason is like, I don't exactly know. We haven't really set exactly where Shrog's office is. We have a few ideas where it might be, and then if you know where his office is, then you know where Zort's coming in, and then you can kind of stage the whole motion of it later, right? They run up to his office, they see Zort appear, he disappears down the stair, and then they follow him. Do you see what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And then now we have like those things worked out.
Are the voice actors the same as the mocap actors? No, they're not. So we would have, but Kot had to leave to go to Hong Kong. So the voice actor for this kid, and then Mayo's too young, so then you'd have him for like 10-minute bursts. So we didn't do that. And then Shrog.
Yeah, you don't want that.
We didn't
because-
want to make him deal with this.
Yeah,
Shrog is.
You can't. It's not practical at all. Like the voice actor Jerry, he's 89, so it's like put a suit on and run around. It's like,
Yeah.
are you crazy? What are you you're asking somebody to do? It's just not practical.
Yeah, and Shrog is supposed to do a bunch of physical stuff later now. So he's supposed to move like an older guy, but at the end he kicks ass.
But then he does fight, right? So, yeah. So none of that was practical. And then just trying to put a suit on a 7-year-old. I think Chance probably could have done it because Chance is actually a performer, like a physical performer, and that kid is really amazing.
No, this has no sim. The clothing right now looks terrible. So the clothing's gonna look great. So we'll run all this through Marvelous later, and that's gonna really make the clothing look kick ass. So right now, that's I think part of the reason why Tran is freaking out is just how weird this section here looks.
Yeah, well, I'm thinking there's going to be gaps, and I don't know how that's going to look. And I'm kind of thinking, I wonder if I have to change the clothes, like what's going to happen. So once we get into our first shot, we'll probably go through a lot of stuff. I think that's the way I can put it. And then it sounds like you might have to kick this rig back to make those joints work, right?
Oh, let's not even talk about that right now.
Yeah, it's super stressful. But the clothing simulation would be last. So the ideal thing is like get any fixes in. get his facial performance working, do any animation changes that needs to be locked down.
Look, when you look at this part here, you don't think this totally works? I totally think this works here.
No, I do too. I think that's good.
Let me do,
The other thing I think is like, when you're in here, you can't see his teeth a lot, but it's going to be different once you bring it into Unreal and you have all like the correct materials and the lighting and all that stuff. I almost think like there's going to be two versions of Kot's clothing under his neck.
like the action stuff and the non-action stuff.
Because the reason why, like, so my fear is like that lifts up and you just see like this bobblehead and then just this gap. Like to me, it's like seeing under a skirt. Like you just don't want to see that. It's not going to look good. You could extend the cloth, but then when he does certain motions, it's going to crumple the cloth and it's going to look bad. So there's probably going to be one version where his neck is longer, maybe, like the clothing, and then one where it's shorter. And it's going to be depending. So you just have clothing A and B.
Which is how it's done in Hollywood, right? It would
Yeah,
be the
it's not-
stunt suit and then the non-stunt suit.
Yeah, they totally have that. And they do that with props, right? They have like the prop that's hero that looks like if you have a sword or something or a gun and it looks incredible, it is actually very heavy and very difficult to manage and for the actors to use the whole time. And then they'll make a replica of it that's made out of foam that looks close, but is not meant for close-up shots by any means. So that's fine.
So anyway, that's what we did this week. Is there any other shot you want to see?
No, I think this is cool. It's promising.
Like when I look at this, I think that's promising. Where is he with his little eyes open?
Yeah.
He looks like a cute little dude.
Yeah. I want to do a shot.
So let's
And-
do it.
And this shot might be ideal, but at the same time, it's almost not because, I mean, it's up to you. This shot might be done multiple times. It's because the way it edits in, right, from the previous scene. And that's why I'm not sure if this is the one you want because is the edit worked out or is the one we should do. It's very isolated, which is a good thing.
Yeah. Feet look good. Like he's not floating around, which is really good.
The other thing I like is the sleeves seem to hide a lot of stuff. So when you hid his clothing, I saw some problem with the elbows. But with those cloth sleeves, it's gonna be fine. It just looks like some adjustments to space his arm out is needed. But the hands are much better than before. And Voice in the Hollow, they were just like moving around like bricks.
So I would probably do something like 80 millimeter. So if I was framing this, probably frame it something like this. And let me just do like a...
That's cute.
how I would set up the camera.
There you have a question here. Was there anything in the voice project that you feel was aha moment that you'll carry over to this and following projects that could help others in Unreal filmmaking?
I think all of it was because we didn't know what we were doing.
Yeah.
You know, I will tell you that the technology has improved since. Like, Unreal did not look that great when we were rendering stuff uh, with the very first. I mean, we were literally using the pre beta version of Unreal Lumen, and that thing did not look
No, it
the way
broke.
it looks now.
The lighting broke all the time, and it was. I mean, we started, and we couldn't make grass or trees right at that time. Like Lumen couldn't support it. It just had so much noise, and so that did huge influence on how our environment was. Lumen was upgrading through that, but it didn't light the way it does now. It's much easier to light. It's much more beautiful, and it looks better and more natural. So, but aha moment, I don't. There's less aha moments. There's more like, how do we fix this, or panicking, or stress.
I mean, the big aha moments were the first time we saw a shot and it was like, okay, that's the shot. That was like, holy crap, we could get this to work.
Yeah.
We had never done mocap. We had never done Unreal on that scale. We had 4 weeks of experience with Unreal, so we didn't really know what the hell we were doing. We still don't.
I think, and then the other aha moment was finding the art direction.
That was
So-
the biggest aha moment.
Yeah, like if you look in if you were to see our previous streams, there's times where I'm just like, yeah, I don't know, this looks bad.
On Voice in the Hollow.
Yeah, like on some of the environment and stuff, I'm like, yeah, you can see like, I remember earlier on, like I created like a bunch of stylized trees, and I just ended up throwing them all away, and trying to like make it work.
I mean, and you spent a lot of time on those stupid trees. It wasn't like you spent.
No, it was a lot of time. And then ultimately, I was like, no tree. Maybe this tree really far in, in the background, like just so the sky wasn't so empty, right? Like there were some trees. And then at the end, as Lumen upgraded, I was like, oh, look, you can put a tree. And then I didn't use any of the trees I made. I just like downloaded them, bought them from somewhere. And I was like, cool, here's some green in the scene. So we have different colors. And that was that. But I think the aha moment was managing to pull everything together. And then it was a ton of struggling to find the look, and then finally settling on a look. So the look initially was like, we had ideas like where it was going to be very desaturated, like where the environments were just kind of like brown and not very colorful, like a medium tan brown. And then you would have the characters kind of pop in this red color in the environment. And in theory, that sounds good, but I just didn't think it like was working. I also think like when you look at those type of imagery in your mind, you have a type of lighting that you think works with it, right? So that type of lighting, I think, is a more naturalistic environment, like just brown dirt and like everything is just kind of muted. But I think the lighting has to feel very exterior, very natural. And that's a very like, I have a hard time getting that to work, especially with the characters in Voice in the Hall being very like wood carving and stylized. Like it was just a match, right? Like a natural lighting environment plus wood blocky characters. And then it was finally going for a color palette that was much more intense, like red soil. It was red and blue, right? But kind of like a cyan blue. And with that, we shifted our lighting to be much more staged looking. So none of our lighting is like very naturalistic. It's all staged. And that was like the aha moment. And that's when things started rolling faster for us.
I think we're not very good at natural lighting. We're much better at theatrical lighting.
Yeah, I especially me, I don't do exterior natural lighting in our stuff. A lot of the stuff we do, like Miguel says, we just tend to be stylistic, and so it just looks like theater. If you look at all our stuff, it's like that. So
Even the Ningyo.
yeah, Ningyo is very staged, very
Yeah.
stage lighting. But it seems to work. Here's another question. Do you use nanite, if I'm correct, technology in EU for props? This must be super helpful importing high-res mesh.
Everything is nanite.
Everything
Yeah.
is nanite except for the character.
Yeah, but you could use nanite on the characters now.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
But you still, I still wouldn't want a 1 million polyhead like character because it still has to get rigged and all that stuff.
Yeah. So
Next step is to pull everything together, start working on a shot. We do have to do some other mocap session because of just how this week worked out. So it's tiring.
we probably need I honestly think we need 3 days more
Yeah.
to get everything. I think we need 3 more days.
I guess the other question is like, do we have to have both of them at the same time for all 3 days? I know we probably need at least one more day where we have the 2 actors together.
No, we don't. I could act. I mean, I can't act for shit, but I could be the stand-in.
Or
for
you
lot
just
of
put a
it.
prop or put a chair and yeah, these actors don't have anything to work with. Like they don't have an environment or anything when they're working on this stuff.
Okay, so you guys are seeing this for the first time, like us. I don't know. I felt more afraid in the beginning when I'm looking at this. I'm like, this is
Well,
totally gonna
I like
work.
the bedroom scene performance. So I'm seeing this and it looks really positive. When you pull the first one in, like the run, I was like, oh, that run, is it too big? Should we have done something else? But it's fine. I like this.
I mean, there is a cool idea that I have for the run. Let me see if I can pull up. Like if he were to run in, because he's supposed to be kind of stiff. If he were to run in, essentially just in like an, let me just pause this here. Like, what if he just ran with both arms just straight out, right? Like really awkward. Do you know what I mean? Like just straight down, and like no flow to them at all. Like but his arms are just coming straight down. I think that could also work.
Like trying stylized. That's what I mean. Like, yeah.
I think I think what we should try to figure out is how to stream this crap so we could see it live while we're doing the mocap. That way we could do tests and be like, that run doesn't work, this works, that doesn't work, and then try to find a style that works for his anatomy. Because I'm totally fine with redoing the runs. Like I don't care.
Yeah, I don't think it's a big deal. It's really just running. Whereas I think the more intimate performances, like him in the room, him approaching Shrog. I think even the Shrog one, when he's running up to him, looks good too, right?
Yeah. This is totally gonna work.
I mean, maybe we should do the shot first then. The first shot, this is how it is. And this is what I think in general. The first shot we do on anything is the shot that gets the most reworked.
It was on the Voice in the Hollow. We redid that shot of her
Yeah, it's her shot, the shot of
her running up to Koa and being out of breath. We redid that shot like 1,000 times.
that is, yeah, again, she's like, I lost my sphere. So she basically says something like that, like, and it's the most simple one, but that had definitely had the most number of iterations. So maybe we should start in the bedroom. Maybe it's good that that one will have the most iterations. But I'll say the good stuff. So gloves were working much better. We don't have block hands. Like literally, they were Lego blocks and Voice in the Hollow, and Miguel had to like replace all the hands. It was so much work, and then the mocap just seems better, like less collision. It was smoother, and our actors were great.
And our gloves, we're using the same gloves. I just think
Something
they just
improved.
look better. I think this on the software side, it was definitely a new interface this time. So I think that that's definitely something. Which shot is this? This is the okay. That's
That's Mayo probably.
yeah.
Possibly that might be Mayo.
That's Mayo.
Yeah.
Let's see that file export. All right, let's see.
As I'm sitting in this chair, like everything hurts. Like I just aching everywhere. Like before the shoot, like we had 2 days. We did 2 days of recording, but the day before is all preparation. It's making sure that you have everything, picking up things that we need, preparing. And then it was 2 days of shooting. And it's a lot of, for me, they're the ones working the hardest, the actors, but it's a lot of running around and stress. The stress on the body like catches up to you.
Save. Yeah. Save.
And then yesterday is just being knocked out. And Miguel was trying to process all this stuff.
All right. So what the hell am I doing? Okay, I know what I'm doing. So let's see.
I like Mayo.
Okay, that happens sometimes. I'm not sure why this happens, but this happens quite a bit. Where everything just gets all wonky like this. When that happens, I just resave the same exact file. Don't change anything. I did something stupid. 1 second. Clean up. 46. Okay, hold on. I just screwed this all up. So let's see. So this here. import this up. 46. All right, so he's not behaving correct here.
Yeah.
This happens.
It's how it goes.
Try to bring him in again. I don't know why that's happening. This is the non-fun part of this whole thing. It's just, man, what is it? Why is that not working? So that's fine. Save scene. Okay, you see all of a sudden it works. Oh, this is the book one. Well, let's see what he looks like on the book one too. What the hell?
It's so weird watching him trying to talk, because Mayo doesn't really talk.
So for some reason, it does not like. There we go. Yeah, Mayo says almost nothing, so create lights.
I'm glad Mayo doesn't say a lot.
The way old shadows were created is so crazy. Let me actually go to the mocap and set it to the one that has no facial animation. I think this fits Mayo better to not even move. Let's duplicate this.
those fingers, they look much more articulate. He looks really funny. He looks so lost.
This was Caitlin, right?
Yeah, I think she's pretty good as Mayo.
So this has no face, which obviously makes it look weird.
I like the head tilt. You have questions here. Do you use any AI tools in your workflow?
We've been playing around with a few things. I'll show you one of the things. What we don't want to do is just type something in and then get you know, a finished thing like that. We don't have any use for that. But this is something that we have done, which is pretty cool. So I did this little sketch, right, of this little guy, and these are supposed to be like some of the background characters. These are like the minors. So this is how they're usually drawn up, like my crappy drawings, right? So I grabbed this crappy drawing and I brought it into this program called Magnific, right? And I ran it through this thing where it would grab this drawing and then you would type in, you know, I think I put like woven fabric, stop motion, something like that, something super simple. And from that, I got this. You can see the silhouette is identical. The resolution is different. I had to draw the X's. I just put them back in Photoshop. Let me just jump over here. So I just painted this back in Photoshop, but you can see that it is freaking almost identical. Like look at the little horns, look at the like lines I drew on the feet. Look at this wrinkle here under the arm. Look at this thing right here. So I think if we were to use it, we would use it in a way like this, where it's almost like you're seeing, could this work, right? And it's almost like you're using it like as a time machine to see what this thing would look like if it actually were made out of fabric, because it's kind of hard to look at these crappy drawings and see whether this is going to work and then spend a month or a few weeks getting everything to work and then for it to just be a bomb. So I like this. So I wouldn't necessarily, I'm not going to put this thing in my portfolio, right? But I immediately could tell, okay, this is going to work, this is not going to work. So at
Yeah.
this point, we could then ask one of our friends, Rain, who's a student at Gnomon, to take the drawing a little bit further. And she did these designs once we were like, you know what, this thing could start working. This could work. And from that, let me pull this up here.
Yeah, and you can see it doesn't. We're not trying to match the other one at all. It just gives us like what Miguel said, some foresight. Like, all right, we can do this, but we want to keep the face. And this guy doesn't have eyeballs, so he's got he's got sockets.
Yeah, so from that, you could bring it into 3D and start designing this. It's not done yet, but you can start seeing him come together actually in Marvelous. So you can see he has his little butt and the whole thing, and this was done by Rain. It's not finished, but you can start to see it. And then that's it. So it just serves as one step in visualizing things quicker for us. But again, it's never typing it in, pressing enter, and then being like, that's our design. So we still want to completely control that. Yeah, it's not even as inspiration. It's more like knowing that it can work. So you already have the inspiration. You already know what you want it to look like. We know we wanted it to feel like this awkward, kind of lifeless thing, right? Like a little. I kind of wanted it to look like a mix between a skull and a jack-o'-lantern, but made out of fabric, almost like a Jack Skellington, where it's got like these vacant eyes, but it somehow still works. So I see it more like, and this is how I've described it to students at Gnomon, is I use it almost like a time traveling machine. So I could see, is this going to work if I put a month into this? Okay, it's going to work, cool. So it becomes, it's not the final product, because that's lame. If you just type something in, grab it and put it in your ArtStation, you're a total hack. But if you look at this as one step that you could use to visualize something, and then ultimately use artistry to execute the final thing, to use artistry to do the initial design, then I think it's fine, right? So that's how we're using it, and it's pretty cool. I'll show you another. Let me see if I have this here. No, I think. Oh, and just so you see, this is what I fed it as reference. So it's an image of a rabbit that we found on Etsy. So this was like the inspiration. This is kind of the look of it. So it doesn't look anything like it. We're not stealing this idea. The idea was entirely in.
Yeah, show Rain's thing again.
Yeah, let me pull it up. And I'll tell you like the notes that I have right now. So for me, the big note on this was that the mouth is not defined clear enough. This needs to feel like a jack-o'-lantern. You know what I mean? Like this needs to be a negative space here entirely. And those kind of are.
Yeah, just get those shapes to clean up.
Yeah, I should have just done it in black. Just get this to feel much more like this. Because right now it's kind of unclear what is happening with the mouth. So I need that. Even that looks sloppy, but you see what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Let me just do it here. So this is all marvelous now. So I think some of this stuff looks a little low resolution here.
Yeah, it does. I have to like look at her file.
There's a couple areas that feel kind of low res, right?
Yeah, it does.
Like very faceted. But anyway, that's the extent of how we're using it. And, you know, the thing is, most of our designs, when we're doing stuff for ourselves, look as crappy as this, right? That's why we don't show them. Like some of the ones on the voice in the hollow. Let me find this here. Um, not even sure if I have it. Let me see. Yeah, I probably don't have it, but some of the designs on Voice in the Hollow were like, they literally look like sketch, the drawings of a 5-year-old. But when, because we don't have to prove this to anybody. We know it's what we mean by those chicken scratches, as Tran calls them. But with that tool, we could kind of get a better idea, even for ourselves, even if we're never going to show it to anybody. So that's how we're using it. Look, like that works really well. Take a look at this. So anyway. So that's all we got for, and by the way, that we only use this on that one guy. So because that Magnific didn't have that ability to do that up until like a week ago or something. And that's when we used it for the first time. So we only used it on that little dude. But I think you have to, you can hate all this tech, and I totally understand the reason why a lot of people are opposed to it. But it's here, it's not going anywhere. So I think you have to embrace certain parts of it and try to find a way so that you're not just typing something and rolling the dice and then that's my design. Like that sucks. But if you're going to control the design, you're going to be the one that's doing the sketch and then just seeing it through to a final model and everything. Then who gives a crap how, if you used a crystal ball to see what it would look like with fabric on top of it. And some of them look terrible, by the way. So just so you know, like that wasn't the best. Let me see if I could find some of the failed ones, because some of them looked terrifying. Yeah, so this is some of like the failed.
Really weird.
Yeah, but you could see what's kind of crazy here is. Let me see if I can pull this up.
It's still interesting to see.
What's incredible is the construction lines. I think this was the one that Rain drew. Yeah, that's what it was. So this one is based off of this, and you can see the construction lines are turned into stitches here. Which is pretty crazy. So it didn't know what the hell to do with the face here at all. But you could see it's not going to look like this at all, but we're like, okay, what would this guy look like if he was made out of, if he was knitted? And then we have to go and actually make it. So, yeah.
I think we're at time.
Yeah, so we're done, guys. I got to run to Gnomon now. So we will talk to you guys next week and hopefully have more cool stuff to show you. I think our next real big goal, I think this might be actually a good thing to do before we even do another mocap shoot, is to run one of the things through so we could be like, oh, you know what? That's totally not working. We need to redo this shot or do that shot or change our approach to how we would do the performance, right?
Yeah, we have to start something.
Yeah.
Start a shot and then do that. And then we can analyze stuff. Because we need to, like, there's technical things, right? Like fix this, fix that, and stuff. And then there's just the artistry. Is this the performance we want? Does that work? Does this match the character? How does that feel?
Yeah.
Is the character cute? No.
Yeah.
Mayo's
Yeah, but,
the
but
cutest.
how?
Mayo no.
So we got to get that cuteness to come across here.
That's Mayo. Yeah.
All right, guys. So we're in the thick of it now. So thanks everyone for tuning in. And
We'll
you
be
guys
back.
have a good week.
We'll be back next week.
Yes. Yes. All right. All right. We'll see you guys.
Bye,
later.
everyone.